There we go. We got Ulf.
Hello.
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 Good evening. I have got the recording started, and I'll start off with the show and tell because I actually got one of my cars that I'd forgotten I had running today, or running yesterday, in fact. But it's one, I think it's about 1/50th. Does anybody recognize these?
It's a UOP Shadow.
Well, it says on it that it is a Porsche plus Audi, but it may just well have the wrong things on it.
Lloyd, I think it's a Can-Am car.
Yeah, it is a Can-Am car, and it's made by Polystyrol.
Right.
It was made by Polystyrol many years ago. And,
okay, so it's a Porsche 917K.
Is that what it is? No, right.
Yeah.
It looks like a Shadow, I must say. And it has rather tiny front wheels, as you can see on there. And the rear wheels were broken, or no, they had very hard tyres, and I couldn't get the tyres off. So I looked through my box and I found some quite good plastic wheels with good tyres that worked very well. But I just wanted to show you the chassis, in fact, because it's all quite neat and tidy. I don't know when it was made. It looks like it's about 1/50th scale, 1/50, 1/52nd.
Right.
Because it's somewhat small. Sorry?
Does it say Dromo on the bottom, underneath?
What year would that been? Do you think?
Early 70s, I think, and Porsche 917.
Oh, really? But I mean the actual
the thing. I don't know. It is old. This one, I'll show you the bottom of it. It's actually doesn't look like it had a great deal of use because it's in very clean condition. It hasn't got magnets. That's the motor you can see from underneath. But with this set of used tyres, they run very nicely.
Tilt it to the light so we can see the writing on the bottom.
Ah, couldn't you read that?
No. Polystyrol, made in Italy.
Yeah.
No Dromo. I think Polystyrol, had a 1/43rd scale system, which was called Dromo.
I think it was called 1/43rd, but it wasn't 1/43rd. And this is one of the cars. I must have acquired it a few years back. It's been in my bits box. But when I found it a couple of wheels and put it on the track, it actually runs quite well. But I just thought it was a novelty, something a little bit different. It hasn't got a driver, so there's probably a bit missing there. But that's mine. Right. The other thing is, I have the Carrera Go set. What's it called? Mario set. I've got 2 Carrera Go Mario sets now because one come up on eBay the other day for £1.75 plus carriage. Complete set, no box. It's one of those instances where the person gave no description, just said Mario set, no box, and nobody bid on it. And for £5 something carriage, I now have 2 sets, so I will be extending my test track.
For £1.75, you got that for?
Yeah, the total bill was under £6.50 or something. So that's a cheap.
You got to keep shopping for those, eh? For that price.
Yeah, I keep an eye on. I've always kept an eye on eBay for 1/43rd products anyway. And it just happened that in this case, somebody was daft. Excuse me. Somebody was daft enough to put it up at 99p, and it really didn't raise much from there.
Exactly the same as the one you have.
Yeah, as far as I can gather, the cars may be different, but I think it's the same set. Because the photograph it showed was actually a pile of track and controllers and wires and things, and I think there was a car in there somewhere. It's a complete set, no box. So at that price, it was just worth a look at. That's my bit. That's all I've got to say just at the moment. Anybody got a show and tell there? Yeah, go ahead, Garth.
Okay, I've been spending a little bit of time on my 143rd cars, and I got 4 of them that are running good, and so I decided to do a little track test with them. Okay. And so I got some photos of it. See if I can share it here. You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, there's number 1. This is a DTM, and it's got Garth wheels on it. SCX car. This is the CUDA with Garth wheels. SCX car again. This is a SCX tuning car, but it's got Peter Pfister wheels on it. On the back, we got what he calls a DTM wheel, which is a little taller. And on the front, I've got the Peter Pfister 911 wheels. Both of these are from Shapeways. So I got smaller on the front than I did on the back. Or I'm sorry, smaller on the front than I did on the back. And I was in the process of changing them to the bigger wheels and said, hey, I'll try it with the smaller wheels. So I went ahead and did that. And here's the 4th car, and this is the my Carrera Go car. It's got my 3D wheels on the car, and it's been lowered down. Okay, and here's the 4 cars together. Another shot of them. See what they look like. And then that's even another shot. Okay, on a track. And here's the surprise. Okay, all 4 of these cars, okay, broke the 30-second barrier on my track, which no car had done to date. Okay, and so that was kind of surprising. To date, I think the lowest fast lap I had gotten on that track was like a 31.5. Okay, and so this was really surprising that I actually was able to get all 4 of these cars. And this car here is obviously the fastest, and I think that one's got a little more speed into it. So those are the highest lap times. Okay, of those 4 cars. Here's the cars with the bodies moved off, so you get to look at the chassis a little bit.
Nice show and tell, Garth.
Yeah, and let's see. The next one is here's one of the first 2 cars. Okay, these are the 2 that are SCX motors. Okay, the other 2 cars are. This one has got a different motor in it. Okay, and that's got the Carrera motor in it. And then here's a better shot. Okay, got the bodies behind the cars and the times with the cars. And here's the close-up of it. And so on the fronts, all 4 cars have Peter Pfister Fuchs design extended blade SCX guides. Okay. And with the exception of this car here, they all have carved out horseshoes for the guide to fit into. And this car here was the very first, this is the SCX tuning car. It was the very first 143rd car that I had ever owned. And when I went to cut this out, and let's see if I can see it, you can see how this, instead of cutting it out as a horseshoe, I cut the whole thing out. It's like, you know how these all have that circle on them? This whole thing is cut out except for this thing where the post is right there. And that's actually the body hole. You can see the top of the body screw there because it actually fits underneath the guide. And so on this one, I had to put these little plastic tabs on there to simulate that same situation there with, because otherwise it would be a little different situation. This helps it go down a little bit. So, but other than that, all the fronts are exactly the same. All of the cars have silicone wires in them. Okay. All the cars have drill blank axles. So they've all been modified for drill blank axles. All right. The first two cars, this car and this car, both are SCX motors. Okay. The third car, which is the tuning car, has this import black can motor. Okay. I think I'd shown that before on some things. This is a really quite nice motor, very smooth motor. Okay, I got a couple of those bad boys. And then this last car has the Carrera Go motor. Okay. And then all of them have weight. You see, we've got weight on the outsides of the chassis on each car. Okay. The first two cars here, this one doesn't have any weight, and this, next to the motor, this one does. Okay. And you'll see the two times. Now this one, this is the CUDA. Okay. And by far, this CUDA is the out of all the cars, it's the one that has the highest body height to it. All right. So I was actually shocked when it did this time. Okay. It runs so well, even with that. I think it's a heavier body and it's higher up in the air. So for some reason, it still ran really, really well. It came in second as far as the speed thing. Okay. This guy here's got the weight in the back and on the side. And the Go car, which is an experiment. Okay. I believe I got a lot more speed in this car here. This one's got some flat weight back there and two flat weights on the side. Okay. And this car here, I think I know this has got more speed in it. Okay. Out of all four cars during the, me running them, the first car, the car that had the fastest lap time, was the only car that had a lot of tail wagging or a lot of, back wheel spinning. Okay. Back end spinning out. Okay. The other cars all had a lot less of the back end spinning off. Okay. And obviously they're a little heavier because they got these extra weights on the middle here. Okay. So I think on this car, I'm going to try putting these types of weights back in the slot, in this little slot between there. And I think there's going to be even more speed coming out of that. But so that was my my fun for this week, was playing with all of my SCX cars. And like, really, to my surprise, I was thinking, oh man, maybe if I really tune one of these, I can get it under 30 seconds, or get the, and so I was really surprised when I got all four of them to go under 30 seconds. So anyways, that was my,
that was really good. Thank you. That was a very good show and tell there. I'm interested to see that the time you got with that black motor, because none of us have really tried that motor yet. I've got a couple of them on the bench, and it seems to have comparative performance with the others.
Yeah, it does, and it's not, of the four motors, okay, it's the smoothest motor, okay, in regards to the way it sounds and runs. Okay, the Carrera motor is the chattiest motor, okay, or the rough sounding motor, and the two SCXs sound similar to the black motor. But I think the black motor, and I think if I had the black motor in the orange car, because that's another experiment I could try. Okay, it might even be be the fastest motor, okay? But it's very comparable to the SCX stock motor, which I think, based on everything that I see on these cars, is pretty good. Okay, I think that older SCX motor is pretty good. And I don't have any of the new version of the SCX cars. And I think I need to get one, one of the new ones, okay? But I was very encouraged by spending, I was able to spend some time with them, and I haven't really spent a lot of time driving and tuning the cars and goofing around with the tires and everything. Oh, and one other thing I forgot, all those cars had gel cloth tires on the back.
Mhm.
Okay, so it was very...
Just a quick question on that, which I think has gone straight out of my head before I said it. It was again that black motor, I think, but there was something else come along, so I'll leave it for now. But thank you for that. That was a very good show and tell there.
My thought on the black motor is it's built better than the other motors. Okay, you know what I mean? I'll bet that they are more. They say for these slot car motors that if you had 100 motors, 80 of the motors would be really good, and 20 of them would be kind of so. But I'll bet that motor is really consistent. It just, when you look at it, okay, when you look at the armature, it's got an open armature. That's one thing that's different than the other cars as well. It's got an open framed armature or a can on it, okay. And when you look at it, and you look at the fit and finish of the parts, and even the fit, even the paint job on the motor can, okay, it's very well. I mean, it looks like it should be in a, in a surgeon's, drill or something. That's very sharp.
It has the pieces of the armature on a sort of spiral shape. They're not straight. They're not all in alignment. I've got two of those black motors and a couple of silver ones of the same. The only difference with the black motor is mine had long shafts on. Did yours?
Yeah, they got shafts on both sides.
Yeah, and quite long ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, that didn't present any kind of problem. So, got a picture of one somewhere here. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. That
skewed type armature, I'm told, is more seen on model railways or railroads, as you call them.
That's very well. That makes sense, Slade, because that kind of is what it looks like. Okay, it looks like it could have been on a train, or design. And I think the catch on it is here's what I found. I found the see if I can open it up. It's open. So hang on. Bear with me a second. I'll try one more share here. Okay, that's I believe that is the picture of it from the website, okay, that I bought it from. And I've had these a while, okay. I've got, I think, 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5, okay. And so that's the first picture. This is a comparison picture to, I believe, the SCX. Okay, that's an SCX. And that's what that one looks like. And that looks, see how this looks kind of a gray color, okay? In front of your eyes, it looks dead black. It's funny, maybe the camera makes this look a little bit gray, but it really looks black in the more. That again is the SCX up against the SCX. But see the finish, the way the armature accoutrements are, the brushes and stuff.
That's the brush fitting, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's the motor. Actually, this is that car. It's semi-different configuration, but you see how, I mean, it almost doesn't. It's almost too good looking for the car, So So I think that I had a bunch of those, I wouldn't be unhappy. That's for sure.
Where's the source?
Just eBay. I just found it on eBay. You know, it's like, you know, I looked up, I forget what it, 12-volt motors or something on eBay, and just kept going through. And I found it a couple different times. Okay, so they're still out there. I think whoever was making it and selling it had a whole lot of them. Okay, because they were talking on the website, I believe, that I got it from. And this is months ago now, but I recently saw them on there as well. And I think they were talking about, well, you know, we can give you a really good price if you buy,
They were very cheap.
1,000 of them, you know, or something. And I think I paid for 5 of them. I think I paid $3 or $2.75 or something like that. Reasonable amount of money, you know. So
I know what I was going to bring up about your test session you had.
Mhm.
Your track being very big and in your basement, I don't suppose it is affected by, but I used to find that my tracks that I had in sheds were affected by the weather. And one day the cars would storm around the track, and another day they wouldn't perform as well, depending on humidity and things like this. But I wouldn't have expected that to have any effect in your location.
I have had that effect. My track is in a basement, but it's a pretty good basement. You know what I mean? It's a little cool here at times, but for the most part, it's pretty dry. And I have a lot of power taps. That's the other thing I'll tell you about my track, is I have a big power supply. And those, that's another thing I didn't say about the 4 cars. And I don't even want to call it a test, because it was fun. It was four times fun. Okay, driving the cars around. But 15 volts is what I run them on. Okay, I run all of my saw cars, including 132nd cars, on 15 volts. I got a 10 amp supply, 15 volts. And I have 18 power taps on that. Even though it's 250 feet, there's 18 power taps. And that is at least 1 power tap on every straightaway. There's 10 straightaways. And there's 8 other ones that are in specific turn complexes. Okay, so I don't have much problems with power at all. Okay, there's one end of my track that I had that I'll call it the north end of the track. There's the biggest corner. Okay, the biggest radius of the corner. It's a radius 4 on Carrera track. That sometimes during the winter, okay, I'll have some, cars will do something funny around there, because, that's where it's got all the track separations. But I've got power taps. The funny thing about it is, even though I've got 2 power taps, one right in the middle of that turn and one at one end of it, okay, and even with that, every once in a while, I think it does flex a little bit, okay, because it's so big. I mean, the damn thing is, it's on wheels and it's huge, so it's going to move up and down and in and out and stuff. But for the most part, it's been pretty rock and roll, So as far as power.
Thank you for that.
And one other thing I might note is that I can drive 143rd cars on it really well. Okay. And that has everything to do with Peter Pfister's guide, I believe. Using those deeper blade guide. On Shapeways, it's called an SCX guide, but he actually made it for me. It's got a 1.5 millimeter extended blade, and so it has a good, base for it to be for it to stay in the track, and but it surprisingly. 143rd cars go on it really well, so I still want a 143rd track, so at some point I'm going to get one. Lloyd is I got 2 sets of SCX track that I bought just to get the cars, and I gave them to my granddaughters. I have a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old granddaughter, and they got that. And so now Lloyd's got 2 sets. I'm going to have to catch up to Lloyd.
The gold ones are worth getting. I had a little discussion with Leo about the power supplies recently, but we'll leave that just for the moment. And thank you for that, Garth. Is there anybody with any more show and tells? Yeah, go ahead, Leo.
I started my track build project on the forum, and it has got no comments yet, so I'll assume none of you have seen it. So shall I just go through that and let you see it and force it on you?
I saw it. It's the Carrera track, right?
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah, on the table.
Some people have liked it.
I haven't looked at it yet, I think.
But no one has said how wonderful it is.
Nobody does.
That didn't work, did it? No. Okay.
No. I noticed on the forum nobody is putting much in the way of comments. We all put likes and things, but that's about as far as it goes. We need to all make a bit more effort in that department.
Hey, Lloyd, I noticed that you're the ones that you've done with Little Monty on there, and the other one from Gaydon. They're getting a lot of what do you call it, views. Okay.
Yeah, but how many of those are real people? We don't know.
I think some of them are, because I think you got the record for the amount of views on all of those.
Mm-hmm. What we got
here we are. Here we are. So yes, Alan is not with us. He suggested that we could do a sort of parallel track build or something. So he's doing his drag strip. No, he isn't. He's doing his test strip, isn't he? And I said I would try and do something with Carrera Go. So I thought I'd feature on the fact that 1/43 is small enough to fit on a tabletop. So I was going to build a tabletop-sized track. And so here it is. Started off, just said that in many respects, I'm just playing at this. So I thought I'd introduce the Ultimate Racer track planner feature, which has Carrera Go as one of the many systems that it covers. So I started playing with that and basically just threw up an oval like that. This is the kind of output you get from the Ultimate Racer track planner system. The sections, the joins are identified by these green dots for some reason. The lanes are marked as red and green, which is quite good. It automatically changes the color. If you spin something round to face it away, then the colors change to match the rest of the track, which is quite impressive. So we did this and then threw it onto the tabletop as the real thing. Where's the thing? And here it is. Here's what it looks like in the flesh, as it were. A bit of distortion, camera projection-wise, camera not parallel to the board, the tabletop. Here it is. So from there, I thought, well, obviously I want it a bit bigger. So I designed that into the plan, ended up with this particular shape, turned that into the real thing on the tabletop, and there it is. So as you can see, slightly overlapping. But then I wanted it a bit more interesting than that. Try and increase the track length, the running length of the track. So I added an extra half straight, or at least a third. I think these are a third of a straight, aren't they? So I added an extra third of a straight to get slightly longer straights. And I didn't bother designing that, obviously. I just did it on the tabletop, and there it was. And then finally, to get a bit more length of running length in it, I added in this section here. So I broke the back straight and put in this, I hate to use the term loop, but this section of track to just again to make it a bit more interesting. In the back of my mind, I wanted it to be a sort of permanent thing. And of course, you can't build a permanent track on your dining room table. So I bought a piece of MDF to build a surface that basically is almost the same size as the tabletop that I was using. And so I did that, painted it blackish, not very well, but enough, and laid out the track. I rotated it through 90 degrees, 180 degrees there. So it's now going the opposite way from the way it was. But it's the same layout. And here we are in the flesh. The piece of MDF that I got from B&Q, which is kind of like Home Depot in North America. And I found it in their offcuts. I didn't know B&Q sold offcuts, but I found it there, and it was just the right size to go on the tabletop. Slightly larger, so that there's no overhang. The track fits in it nicely, no overhang. So that worked out quite well. If you've ever run plastic track, rigid plastic track, like the Carrera stuff, on a tabletop, you'll know that it gets quite noisy. The sort of rattly sort of sound, echoey, rattly sound. So I wanted to sort of dampen that down. And my first thought was get some carpet underlay or something. But where I had a couple of mouse mats. And if you remember mouse mats, they're sort of foam rubber underneath, and then there's a sort of cloth layer on top to run the mouse on. And so I had a couple of those, and I thought, oh, that might work quite well. So I found on eBay a company who sell them for, I think, £1.50 or something, and I bought 4 of those to see how it worked out. And here they are. I think that's one of the old ones, but the new ones are black foam rubber and a black cloth top. So either way around, they'll work reasonably well. I kind of, when I got them, I measured them first, and I realized that if I cut one in half, I could use it, along 2 bits of the 2 bits of underlay for the track, because they are twice the width of the Carrera Go track. So when I cut these, when I'm happy with the layout, and I cut these, I'll get double use out of them. So said all that in the blurb. And here are the mouse mats. So yeah, sort of foam rubber underneath and quite a nice cloth surface on the top. I don't know which way around I'll put them when I finally install this, but basically I've said it's going to be a long build, and I will take it in steps. I want to have some scenery. First thought was to make it a rally track, but then a rally track with such small scenery, I don't know how with such a small footprint, I should say, I don't know how well that will work in terms of the scenery. So I might just end up having, pits and make it a racetrack, but we'll see. So final bit I did was I ran a car round, and so here's the video. If I go to YouTube, it'll enlarge it, won't it? There it is. Right. No. Right. I don't know if you can see that message about low resource needs, but here it comes. Using lap tracks. And in this video, I've had questions on the YouTube channel about whether the cars can just be basically held full throttle and not de-slot. So I deliberately crashed a few times to show that no, you can't just hold the throttle full on. The cars will de-slot. That's my story anyway. So a bit of deliberate crashing, and round it goes. Lap track's very noisy. I don't know if you found that. And there seems to be no way of really turning the volume down. You can turn down the beeps. No, I tell you, you can turn down the commentary, but the beeps and bells and things that ring, they're all full volume. So that kind of is a bit wearing, but it's a good system for things like this. You just sit your smart device at the side of the track, and it will detect the cars going past.
Yeah,
so,
can you elaborate on that timing system? How exactly that works?
Yeah, I think
is that just a regular cell phone that you have?
Yes, it's an Android. I think it works for Apple devices as well. It's called Lap Tracks, LAPTRAX,
Okay.
And it allows, I think up to 4 cars. So you fine tune the detection by pointing the device at the track and then running a car past it. And then I think you press the button to say, right, that's car 1, run another car and it's further down the screen. That's car 2, further down car 3, and so on.
So it works off the camera? Is that how
Yeah.
it's? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's using the motion detection facilities from the camera.
Oh,
so I've never actually tried it with more than 1 car.
is it free? Is it free?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I think you get adverts at some points when you're setting it up. I think adverts will pop up, but I haven't seen any adverts popping up in use. So that's quite good. Kevin put me onto this, so he might have a more of an idea of what the problems are, the limitations.
I think when you setting it up, you set it up with the past the car in front, and it detects the color of the car. So I think it might be a bit dodgy if you had 2 cars similar color.
Yeah.
And also, when you're using only 2 cars on 2 lanes, it'll pick up the different cars on the different lanes. So it works all right that way. But I don't know how it would work for digital. If you're having multiple cars on single lanes or whatever.
Yeah, I think if you're doing something like that, then having a proper timing system would be the way to go. But for just thinking about it like this, then it's very convenient. It's very convenient. It doesn't store. It will store the name if you enter some names. Leo, Garth, Kev, Lloyd, Steve, Ulf. If you enter the names, it will remember the names, but it doesn't remember the race. So if I run a race, then shut down, and then run a race the following day, I have to select the drivers again. That's a bit annoying.
I was thinking that maybe a how-to video for the YouTube channel on that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my granddaughter's father, Jeffrey. Okay, Dr. Jeff, I call him because he is a doctor. If I could say, hey, watch this YouTube video, and because he's got an iPhone, so
right,
he can figure it out.
There are a couple of videos on YouTube.
No. I'm talking about the 143rd channel.
Yeah.
And hell with everybody else's YouTube channel.
Yeah, but there's a couple of them actually made by Laptrax too.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe we could steal it.
I'll certainly put a link to it in our videos.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I might do a sort of shortened version, but the facilities are, stuff you'd never use, I think. But I could do a quick, simple, 1 car at a time type thing. And it's quite a nice display. That makes my phone look enormous, but my phone is, well, I suppose it looks enormous again, but it's small.
But it'd be really cool for, to have two cars running.
Yeah. Yes. I kept hoping that if I just casually mentioned Laptrax, people would engage with the comments and ask more about it, but nobody has as yet. Feel free to do that. Put up a wee question, okay, it's a bit fake, a bit faux, but if you put up a question about Laptrax in the comments for the video, I will respond and engage with the comment. So that's pretty much all I've been up to.
Thank you, Leo. Some good thoughts there. I've been playing around with similar track, but mine's L-shaped. Like 2 ovals joined together sideways.
Yeah.
But again, there is a subject of the power supply, but we'll talk about that again in a minute after we finish the other things. There's anybody else want to show us anything or talk about a particular item?
I did some looking through my slot cars a couple days ago and discovered some brand new into plastic SCX DTMs and some brand new SCX NASCARs. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. You just can't leave them stock, you know.
At SCX, you can send them to me.
I was waiting for that one.
If there's any kudos, send them to me.
And amazingly enough, as I was going through, I was watching for the cars that I made with Ranch Design aluminum adjustable chassis. And of all of the Sidewinder chassis that I've sold, I've only got one, and I don't have any chassis bits left for the Sidewinder. And I was kind of disappointed. I thought I had 2 or 3.
I got I've only got one of them as well. And that was a very successful chassis for me. It did very well in proxies. But I got it out last night and I was looking perhaps revive it, clean it up and whatever. But I did something odd with it in that it had been fixed in a particular wheelbase. I screwed it up tight in a particular wheelbase. And then I got out all my resin bodies and started seeing which bodies fitted that wheelbase. And I now have one aluminum chassis with a whole row of body shells sitting there waiting for it. So it's also a chassis length, actually, the wheelbase that I've used for several of my brush chassis, but it was just interesting. But that is a nice little chassis, that.
Yeah, and I was going through the storage drawers and found several of the front sections. Mm-hmm. And I want to say there was 4 of the inline rear sections, brand new, never been folded,
right,
sitting there waiting. So I do have a few things that from the old design that I can build. I just gotta get the time to get down there and do it.
Do you have engineering drawings of those that folded up chassis?
Somewhere I've got to find them.
But are they CAD drawings?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was designed on CAD.
Can you make idiot-proof instructions for it, please? I bent them the wrong way when I made mine.
I've got 2 on my bench downstairs I bent the wrong way, so don't feel bad. It might have been the whiskey, I'm not sure.
Nothing wrong with whiskey. Scottish anyway.
I've been thinking about building a chassis, fold-up aluminum chassis for the CUDA, okay, just for kicks and giggles. And the way I thought I would do it is I have this semi-trick that's not a trick for folding aluminum or folding any kind of metal, is the tab that folds up, okay? I take a half hole and cut a half hole on each side of the tab where it folds. You know, you follow what I'm saying? So there, say you got a bend line. Now here's the tab sticking up, okay? And you got a line it's going to bend on.
Yeah.
On both ends of it, you take a half hole. You cut a half hole, and then you put one hole in the middle of it, okay? And it allows you to bend it up by hand, okay? And the part will follow the hole pattern, okay? You follow what I'm saying? And I've done this, and I've done a lot of sheet metal design in my life, okay? And I've done the same trick a lot, okay, with other stuff. Making it so that you can ship it and it's a flat plate, and you just take it and you fold it up. You don't need a press brake or anything. It just folds it up, okay? And
what I discovered, well, what I guess I didn't discover, it was one of the guys on the HRW forum many years ago. He was buying several of those chassis from me, and discussion got started on how he was folding them. And he took a small hinge, like a cabinet hinge, one of them rectangle ones, about that long and about that wide. and he would fold it around flat, get it lined up, fasten a pair of vice grips on it, and go rip. Prettiest bend you ever seen. So I went and got some hinges, and that's how I've been bending them ever since. And it worked slick. It worked really, really slick. Before I was fastening it into a vise and, and trying to push it over. And I wasn't getting really good, satisfactory to me bends.
The hole methodology, having the holes, you have to perfect the bend. What you're doing is you're promoting where the bend exactly is.
Right.
Okay. And it doesn't require any tools at all. Okay. And that's the beauty of it. Okay. So even if you can straighten it out, and you design the holes in such a way that it's still going to have enough strength for you after it's bent up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I'm going to actually draw one up, and I don't have, I have some punching capabilities. I got hand punches and stuff like that. And I have a surface table and all kinds of layout equipment like height gauges and stuff like that. So I'm going to actually just take a piece of metal and blue it up with bluing and make a drawing of the damn thing and actually scribe it out, okay, and then cut it out by hand, cut it and drill it out by hand.
In 1/43rd
Totally
scale,
handmade.
of course.
What?
In 1/43rd scale, of course.
Oh yeah, for the CUDA. Because I got this thing about the CUDA. The CUDA looks like this, and I hate it. I look at some of the CUDAs that they raced, and they're like this, okay. Their bodies are level with the ground, and that CUDA, although I love that CUDA, the SCX CUDA, it's canted like that. It's canted forward where the ass end of it is up, and it's just it needs to go down. So, and I want to make a 3D chassis for it. Okay, so I want to have a methodology that I can test the actual dimensions I want for hole sizes and motor mounting and all that crap, and experiment with that. Okay, so that's one of the many thousands of projects that I have.
Anybody else, sir?
The last thing I've got is, at one time I knew I had about 4 of those SCX CUDAs, and they're gone, and I have no clue where they went. I must have sold them to somebody. I was kind of disappointed. If I can find one of those, I'll build it up. Show Garth that they're gone.
If you find one of them, you send it to me. Okay.
I find one, I'm keeping it.
I look for them all the time. Every day on eBay, I search for them. And since I've been looking, probably about a year's time, or maybe a little more, I saw one yellow one for sale, and it went for, $35. Okay. And I thought, oh my God, that's way too much money. And if I saw one today, I would buy 10 of them for $35. Okay. And then I bought one set that has 2 CUDAs in it for no money really. And that's it. That's the only ones I've seen. Okay. They're so hard to find. Okay. Unless you're Stefan, you got a whole closet full of damn things.
Oh yeah. I did find a CUDA diecast, but I don't think it's quite as wide as the SCX CUDAs. I'll have to do some checking with it and get some measurements off of it, send them to you, Gar, so we can see it. Nothing else, we can at least do some resin cast.
Yeah,
CUDA bodies.
I am gonna, part of the CUDA project is resin. John Kidd has volunteered to cast bodies for me right off one of my CUDAs. So I'm going to sacrifice one of my CUDAs so I'm going to have body shells, but I still need to do the 3D chassis and all that stuff. So,
well, if
wheels, motors, and chassis and guides and all that stuff will be easy compared to.
If you want, let's check out this die cast, and we can use that for the sacrifice.
No, I want to use the SCX CUDA.
Okay.
I want them to be the casting. The whole idea behind the casting is that it's going to be exactly the same as a SCX CUDA. It's going to have the same body mounting post. It's going to have the same. Everything is going to be exactly the same, with one exception. Okay, we're going to cut the on those CUDAs, the underpans on the front of the car and the rear of the car are on the chassis. They're going to be added onto the body. Okay, so that a 3D printed chassis can fit up underneath them. Okay,
that'll make it interesting, resin casting, if he's using a two-piece mold, because what happens?
He is using that two-piece mold, and he's very, 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 very talented. Okay,
yep. So it's just tough getting that
yeah,
inside mold is tough getting it out when you've got undercuts.
Yeah,
like
yeah. I've seen his work, and he knows what the drill is, and and I'm the only one that's holding it up is me.
Yeah, I've done a ton of that. I did a ton of that resin casting back when Ranch Design was in full swing. Did a ton of it. In fact, I got some brand new bottles of the silicone that never got open. They're junk now. It's just from age.
Yeah, they get old. Lloyd is the big resin caster on the. You're the resin.
No, others did it before me. I just did it because they weren't making the bodies I wanted at the time. Apart from Ranch Design, who had a nice Falcon but didn't do me a 64. Yeah. If we've got to so far on that discussion. It turned out that the Carrera Go set I got is one of the latest ones, and the plug-in section where you plug the wires in to the track is horizontal, and the base is red. And this is what Leo had pointed out to me, and I said, "Oh, I don't remember it being red," but when I went and checked it, it was. What the significance is that up to now on Facebook, people say, why can't I run Artin cars on Carrera Go power supplies? The answer is you can, because my couple of Artin motors that I've got in chassis run very well on this latest version of the Carrera Go power supply. Leo is more of an expert of it than I am, because he has knowledge of the internals of it, and said it is very differently wired to the old ones. So can I ask you to enlighten us on that, Leo?
I'll try. This is what Lloyd's talking about, the latest Carrera Go power base, as generally known, which has a red base. So it's got Carrera nicely logoed on the top, and red base to go with it. The controllers have red connectors, and you can't plug in these controllers to the older style power bases, because it'll damage either the controller or the power base, and that is because in here there's a little electronics board which converts the signal from the controller. I've lost the controller. Oh no, I haven't. It's here. So the resistors are the controllers are not the traditional resistor type. There's a very light resistor track, more of a sort of potentiometer type construction inside. So the signal going through that is not the motor current. It's not the current going to the motor. It's only the signal going to the power base. The power base has transistors which drive the motor. So pretty much like how a digital system works. And I think basically these controllers are D143 controllers. So electronic board in here. The electronic board doesn't have the same current limitations as the older style power bases, and therefore things like Artin cars, 1/32 cars, all run okay on this. I've got an Artin Mini, which It does sometimes. It does strange things, but it does work. It does work. So it's an electronic control unit in here, and electronic type controllers. So a bit different. In all the other Carrera Go power bases, the power goes in the middle socket, and the controllers go to the outside. But in this one, as you can see, the power goes in at the end, and the controllers go in at the other end. So, yeah. So these are a good one to go for. Personally, I prefer the 4-socket versions of the old ones which have dual power supply connections, and I haven't got one handy, but you know the ones I mean. The connectors go in vertically, and there are some which have 3 connections. One that has a single power supply and 2 controllers, and the other one has 2 power supplies and 2 controllers. So the 4-port one is my favorite, and I've got a 4-port one which doesn't have the restriction, so it runs Artin cars happily as well. So I think at some point Carrera Go power bases were changed to remove the power current limitation units. So the problem has been designed out, if you like. But it's impossible to say which 4-port ones will handle cars and which 4-port ones will not. So yeah, there's probably some way of telling, but you need to know the part numbers and things like that.
Also, with these red base ones that you just showed there, they appear to have brakes. Most of my cars appear to, when you take the throttle off quickly, they appear to stop pretty quickly. But I have one of my 143rd cars has a normal Scalextric motor. I don't know what you call it, the full-size one. And that one is a bit slower at stopping. That's not what I'm referring to, is the motor that is not the slimline, but the regular bigger motor that is sort of the size of an Artin motor. But it was a big car, so I put that big motor in it, and it runs very well. But that has a little less brakes, but that might be due to the fact that the car's very heavy.
The braking is done by the electronics. There's some way it shorts the track rails, just like you do with a braking hand controller, which shorts out the track rails. So yeah, the electronics handles it for you.
Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
As far as brakes go, okay, I have a question about the power base, but I wanted to talk about brakes first. You know, I didn't talk about brakes, but on my track, I have brakes, obviously, and I use a brake control, which is a big rheostat. And I got the rheostat hooked up to a switch that it can be totally off, like no brakes, full brakes. Okay, one of the positions is full brake, and the other one is what I call partial brake. Okay, and you click it onto the rheostat, so you can adjust the amount of brake that you have. Okay, and also I have a thing that's called roll control, which is a rheostat connected across the power of the controller. Okay, and what it allows you to do is when you let up fully on the trigger of the car, it still has a quiescent current or quiescent voltage across the controller, so it allows the car to coast or roll around the corners. Okay, and my question is, because I noticed on all 4 of my cars, all 4 of these cars that I was showing earlier, that I could use different versions of both the amount of power and full brake or no brake and roll control differently with each one of those cars, you know. And I was just wondering if Lloyd brought up brakes, okay? And my question about brakes in general is in 143rd. I mean, is it common to have brakes? Okay, you know, a regular brake control. Okay, no, it isn't.
All the Carrera Go controllers are actually just 2-wire controls. They actually have 3 wires in the leads in the cable, but these new ones only have 2. I don't think you can see that, but there's only 2. The older style has 3 wires because the boost button is the 3rd wire. With these controllers, there's only 2, and it sends us the electronics, which I just opened this up, little electronics board inside, and the braking is done by the electronics sensing that the throttle has been released, the button has been released, and it applies the brakes.
So
but with the older power bases, there's no braking available at all.
Really?
There's no contact in the controller for it. The 3rd contact is for the turbo boost button, and there's nothing in the power base to do it for you.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing to me, because I can't imagine having a stock car that you couldn't have brakes that were adjustable. Okay.
yeah.
Now, my next question I have is for you, Leo, is with the power base. Can you now, the way I would want to do that is with either one of the power bases is rip the guts out of that thing. Okay. So is it easy? Would it be easy to use that as a to do my own wiring in? Could I rip all the junk out of it, okay, and do my own wiring in that power base and still use it?
Why would you?
Yeah, I think the simple answer is no.
Go fast.
So there are no connectors apart from the ones, and the older power bases are very similar. The connectors are on a printed circuit board. So this is like that. The connections for the controllers go directly onto these tabs, and the old one's the same. So yes, you could potentially modify this, as you say, rip out the wiring, make your own connectors, have your own 3-pin. The common ones in North America are 3-pin connections with crock clips, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you have a 3-pin or an XLR or whatever connector you wanted, but you'd have to build a complete, you'd have to build them into the top or something like that. So it's
the question, the core crux of the question would be how the wires go onto the rails, okay? Because that's the only thing. I would want to use those. Are those soldered connections?
Yes.
Oh, they are. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So then that answers my question. I could just rip all the junk out of there and use those wires.
I tell a lie. They're not. They're a little clip. Where's the camera?
My methodology. Okay.
They're soldered to a clip, and the clip gets stuffed into the recess there. So yeah,
they're not soldered. Okay.
I thought they were, but I just realised they're not.
A question along the same lines, in fact, it's not so much a question but a discussion point. I will be, when the other pieces of track arrive, extending the track and keeping it with that power supply system for when our granddaughter uses it. But I would also like to use my own power supply with brakes, and I wonder if I can leave both of them part of the track and just plug in what I want to use. Any thoughts on that?
With the new electronic power base, I would say no.
Yeah, there's a power supply there.
Yep.
You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my brake setup right there.
Yeah.
So with most of those 143rd cars, I have this down on full brake. Okay. One of them, the Carrera, for some reason, I liked it to have brake and then this dial on about 1. Okay. And then I think I even had some of this roll on there, but really, with 132nd cars, the roll generally is like 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. But with the 143rd cars, I found that roll, if I even use it at all, I'd have it down in the 1 range. Okay, so anyways, that's what that looks like.
So yeah, I would avoid having one of these new power bases in the circuit at the same time as your own setup because of the electronics.
Yeah, I thought that, and I was just wondering, as you seem to know about these things, it was worth asking.
You'd want to use, fancy dancy controllers compared to the Carrera controllers too. So, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
No, I'd make up another piece of track with connectors for the other system and just interchange them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. I saw this thing on the worldwide chat. There's this guy, his name is Jim Cunningham, and he made this thing called the Omnibox. Did you see that, Leo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's designed for a Carrera to use on a Carrera digital, and you buy this box, okay, and it's like $8 million or something, and you hook all your junk into it, okay, on a Carrera digital, and by flipping one switch one way, it changes your track over to regular analog. I wonder if they could do something like that for the Carrera Go. Okay.
Yes. I mean, basically, what he's got there comes down to changeover switches for the switching the rails from the analog controller elements to the digital controller elements, basically. And he's got some clever switches which are 3-position, left, neutral, and right. So in the neutral position, neither system control is connected, and in one position the analog system is connected, and in the other position the digital system is connected. So I mean, obviously the box is a fairly cleverly designed box, but the really clever thing to avoid damaging is having this switch which has the neutral position in the middle. So it's digital, neutral, analog, and vice versa. So basically, if you threw it very quickly, you might be able to damage it. But he's got some sort of control system which prevents the analog interfering with digital. The neutral position,
like digital or like analog over here, off digital.
Yes,
that's the way you would have to. Okay, and he's got some kind of buffering in between there, probably, right? Okay.
Yeah, the neutral position is isolated from both systems. So it's kind of like, analog, neutral, digital. And neutral is completely isolated. So that's the essence of it, I think. And beyond that, he's got things to fiddle about with, which I can't remember, but the digital side obviously is more complex.
I have another question about Carrera Go. Maybe Lloyd can answer this question. How many, on the 2 tracks that you got, your 2 sets, how many different turns are there? I mean, what is it like? Is it just one, like a radius 1?
Mine only has half turns, that's all.
No, but I mean, as far as the radius, the radius, is it like radius 1? And then it's got radius 2, or is it just one radius?
Ulf is the expert on this.
Okay.
Yes, it's got 3 different radius.
Oh,
radius
really?
1, 2, 3. So you can actually have 6 lines.
Wow, 3. Okay, that's great. That's different than SCX Compact, right? Because there's only 2. Yeah. Okay, so that's reason enough to go with Go then over SCX Compact.
I find all of my cars run very well on the Carrera Go track. And I'm not finding as much slippiness as I had on the old Carrera Go tracks. So maybe that is something the new track may have addressed as well. I don't know. I haven't done much running on this. I'm just playing around at the minute.
I got another general question for everybody. Now, this question I'm going to ask on the other Zoom chat too. I discovered something that is really interesting to me. Okay, and it's on the subject of painting plastic tracks. Okay, you know, there's an awful lot of people out there that think that, you know, you got to paint your plastic track to have better traction. Okay, and particularly if you have a Carrera track. Now, I have 250-foot Carrera track that's on multi-tiers, and there's no way on God's green earth that I could paint my track. It's just there's too much of it. I'd have to tear it. I mean, it would take me like 87 years to do it. Okay, but I discovered something that I'm very curious about. Okay, I was taking some pictures of cars. Okay, and I have a like a little piece of Carrera track that I used to do it on, and it was kind of scummy looking and dirty and stuff. And I said, you know, I'm going to clean this up. So I took some cloth and some cleaner, and I cleaned up the track. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use some of that future floor stuff, you know, that you put on your car bodies, okay, to make
polish.
And it just occurred to me, oh my God, that's acrylic, okay? And really, latex paint is acrylic, okay? And I started thinking, Jesus Christ, maybe you could use acrylic floor, whatever you call it, okay? They don't call it floor wax anymore, but floor cleaner,
polish
or whatever, you know. And so what I did is I took some of it, and I have it for my in a little bottle. I have a big bottle of it, but I have a little bottle that I use to pour on my slot cars when I want to emulse them in the clear stuff and let them dry. And so I took some of it and I put it on the little piece of track, just with a little bottle. And then I took a rag, a cloth rag, and I buffered it out. Okay, I let it, in other words, I let it go on. I made sure I had a bunch of it all over the track, and then I shined it so that it was almost drying as I was doing it. Okay, and the end result is, you know, a really beautiful surface. Okay, that is black. And you know, that's the other thing. A lot of people that paint their tracks, they don't like the black or whatever, and they got this. Everybody thinks they got to be gray. For me, I like the black. Okay, and I looked at the thing and I went, "Oh my God! I wonder what would happen, or I wonder if anybody has ever actually tried to do this for traction, to have better traction, because of the fact that the floor wax is acrylic, and the paint that you would paint on it is acrylic." And provided that you didn't, you know, let it gloss, okay, in other words, you know, you buffered it with a rag, okay, wouldn't you get the same effect, okay, or not? So that's my question. Has anybody ever thought of that, tried it, you know?
Just a small thing is that if I paint track, it's always with flat paint and not gloss, because gloss doesn't look right to me. But
right,
for performance
latex is,
point of view, yeah.
Latex is flat.
Some of those wood guys paint gloss. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
They do. On the smooth big tracks, they were often painted with gloss paint. They were never on scenic tracks or anything like that. They were just for performance. And yes, the big tracks, commercial tracks, I think, were gloss paint, because with goop and sponge tires, it works very well on.
I'm so curious about this. I know a guy that has a paint store, okay, and he formulates his own paint, okay, and I've known the guy for 30 years, and I buy all my paint from him. And you know, I know I can go down there and say, make me a quart of matte finished clear latex, okay, and paint it on a track and see, if it, and see if it actually does anything, So that would, that way I wouldn't, it would be a way for somebody to not have to, not to actually paint it, but just rag it on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we seeing another one of Garth's experiments starting up here?
I don't know. I was sitting there doing it, and I went, and it looked so cool. I went, oh my God, I wonder if anybody's ever tried this. Okay. And I just think half of the things that I come up with, I just can't believe that nobody's tried. Okay. You know what I mean? I think it's fun.
Clear, as we know it, is no longer available in the UK, so it's too precious to try experiments with. We use it for coating the decals on cars, and it's too precious to try and paint a whole track with clear.
What do you mean it's no longer? Look at he's got a can of it right there.
Yeah, that's the new stuff, which is not as good as the old stuff.
Really?
Yeah. That's called Pledge.
Yeah, no, but it's the same stuff. It's exactly the same.
Well,
it's exactly the same. They just keep changing the name of it.
It does do the same job, yeah.
Yeah.
I did use the Pledge stuff, and it worked quite well on my cars, but that was a while back now.
You're the one that's got the Carrera track, so why don't you try that on your Carrera track and tell us if it makes a difference?
Yeah, I've got to take off, so hopefully we'll see you next week.
Okay. Take care, Steve.
Steve.
Hold on.
We'll see you later.
Ciao. Well, my experience with the new Pledge stuff is that it's more runny, it's thinner than the old stuff. So you have to be careful. The older stuff was sort of self-leveling, so you could basically pour it on, and it would level itself and give you a nice coat. The new stuff is too runny. It's more thin. It's thinner.
Yeah.
Really? What?
Yeah, but I use it as a clear coat for the finish on cars.
Yeah.
So the runnier the better, because then you're not getting a thick coat.
I'm not an expert on it, okay, but I have done it on a few cars now, okay, and man, it's awesome. I use when I do it, okay, I clean the bodies, okay, and just make sure I don't have any oil or anything on them. Clean them really good, and then I actually take them to the sink and I wash them off, and then I put them on a fan, and I let them run against the fan so there's no water anywhere for hours, okay, and then I take a really not a kind of a moppy looking sort of regular brush, but it's more like a mop, it's really soft bristles on it, okay, and I just put it in a little cup. I pour it into a little cap, and I just mop it on, and let it self level, okay, you know what I mean? It's worked really well. I mean, I'm wondering if you actually have different stuff, now, because
is yours still called Clear?
No, it's called Pledge. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Right, but it basically says, and the history of it is that it's the same. It's the same damn stuff. Okay. They just keep changing the name of it. Okay. You know what I mean? And I don't know why they at one point, Johnson & Johnson, the company that makes it, okay, I guess they thought Pledge, the brand name Pledge, became popular with housewives or something. So they decided to, slap it onto that.
This discussion came up on the slot forum and places like that at the time when Clear was disappearing, and there was a lot of discussion about it then. I can't remember which way it went really, but I've used the Pledge stuff without too much problems. Yeah. But I'm about to redo a lot of my body shows, and so After I bathed them in pledge, I'll tell you if it worked.
I wish I would have known about it 10 years ago, because I've got a lot of older body shells that I've got, I've had my fingers on, and the not so much the decals, but the what do you call it, the tampo printing is kind of worn off because of my finger oils and stuff, and had I known it about 10 years, I would have coated them all. So I think that's the main advantage of it, is that you get this really simple to do, easy coating. It's not hard to do at all. Okay. I think the worst thing you could do is maybe put too much on. But I have heard people that they take it and they just pour it all over the whole car. Okay. And just let it drip down, and then take a Q-tip on the bottom.
I've done that.
That's a little severe for me. I do something similar with a brush and I mop it on, but doing it that way would be.
I think I did dip my yellow Cobra in a bowl of it, and I think it was all right.
Maybe for a 143rd car it would be a good idea.
Shut this door now because I'm going to bed. All right.
Hold on, I can hear you.
Sorry.
When I was making one of the videos, that yellow Go car that I have, I was looking at it on I did a video for the YouTube channel and the 143rd YouTube channel, and I was commenting on the quality of the decorations and stuff on the body on that car. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe that they make a small car that looks that good. You know what I mean? So anything I can do to preserve it. Okay.
Back at the clear versus pledge thing, the problem I find is that I used to use clear to stick on car registration plates like that. So I'd print it on paper and then use clear to stick it to the bumper or the body of the car. So that is printed on paper, stuck on with clear. That is paper stuck on with clear. If I try to stick it on with pledge, they don't last any length of time. They just fall off. So that's the difference that I see.
I always use white glue though for that. Wood glue.
Right. Okay.
PVA. That was a Sunbeam Rapier.
Yes.
I've got that in 143rd.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably a result of different materials, Leo. You know what I mean? The part, the car part of the car that doesn't have the paper on it is one material, and the paper is another material. I've had that same thing. I have a car that's got a martini sticker that I made on a print. I printed a piece of paper and stuck it on there, and then cleared over the top of it. And it kind of the corners of it peeled up. Is that what happened to yours? I think
they just fall off. They just fall off.
Oh, okay. Well, I glued mine. I like
to do it on paper because a car registration plate has a thickness, maybe 5 millimeters thickness.
Yeah.
So replicating that on a slot car, I think is better done on paper because you get it stands off. If it's just a clear decal, then or a white decal, then it'll just blend with the bodywork.
See,
whereas done in paper.
You know what I tried on mine? If I have to do that, if I have to use paper, spray the back of the paper with some adhesive. Okay, spray adhesive.
Yeah.
And be careful because you're going to get it on. You want to maybe use
everywhere.
You don't want to get your fingers on it. Okay, but you apply it with a pair
tweezers,
of tweezers and stick it on there and set it down and then smoosh it, let it dry really good, then put your clear over the top of it. I think
I use
that's what I'm doing now because pledge doesn't do it for me. That's what I'm doing now. I get a Pritt stick, put the registration plate on a piece of paper face down, rub the print stick over the top, over the backing of it, and then put it on the car with tweezers, like you say, and then give it a coat of Tamiya lacquer or whatever to protect it. But with the old clear, it just went straight on, job done.
Yeah, I use PVA glue for lights, windows, number plates, anything like that.
Right. Yep.
And they usually stay in all the time I want them to stay in anyway.
Yep.
Right, we've wandered slightly, but it's all been good modelling subjects. Anybody got anything 143rd they want to bring up at all?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Who did the drag video? Is that you, Leo, or is that Kevin?
That's Leo.
Drag race video. Oh, okay.
Me,
Cool.
yeah.
We need Kevin to do one too. We got all these drag guys out here. And then we need a video from Lloyd's shed with the Go Track in there.
Yeah.
What you'll get is I have messed around with videos for it, but then the cars look too far away, so I need to do a new video where I pan into the car first so you can actually see what it is before it goes around the track.
Yeah.
And when I've finished with all this messing around with this Carrera Go, it'll go back in the box and I'll make a proper routed track.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we could get a free video out of it.
Yeah, it doesn't have enough. It fits. You saw the photograph of my shed. It fits on the bench on the left and the piece of wood I've stuck on the far end. It overlaps just a little bit, but it does the job. But I will run like that while I'm testing cars and things. But eventually, I will go back to where I can put the turns where I want the turns and make them as tight as I want them to be as well. Has anybody got a way of molding or 3D printing that?
For me, the anything that got Carrera Go tracks on it is interesting to me because I'm thinking about buying a Carrera Go track, so I get to see what the track sections look like, and and I'm sure it's interesting to other people. Interestingly enough, Lloyd, I wasn't lying when I looked at your videos, the two that you put on there. They get like 300 views on the little Monty one. Isn't it like 290 views?
Yeah,
and it's only been on there a few weeks, so
yep,
it's very interesting. Okay, so
on
any
the
contribution of a video is important, I think, for that website. Okay, don't you think? So,
yeah. On the YouTube channel front, I think we're almost at 50 subscribers. Somewhere.
50 followers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subscribers. Get tuned in, Lloyd. Subscribers.
Subscribers, right.
okay.
I've lost it. Yeah, still 49.
Who has not subscribed yet?
Yeah. Can you hear that? No. So.
I'm subscribed. I get them all the time. I watch them all the time too. Okay, because. Yeah.
Well done.
I've been quite busy lately with a lot of other things. I've been backwards and forwards to airports and all sorts of things, but I'm now in a position where I will have a bit more time. So I'm hoping to do a bit more in the way of videos and other things.
That brings up another subject. Okay, wait.
Lap tracks ready.
Oh, lap tracks ready. For me, I used to call slot car season the fall and winter is when I used to, and I think that the more I see, I think that's sort of true for everybody. In the summer, everybody seems to have more stuff going on outside and everything. So they, have, so it's like off season for slot cars almost. Okay. Although it's never off season for slot cars, but you get what I'm saying is that you have a tendency I have a tendency to spend more time on it during the fall and the winter. So.
Yeah, certainly while we have sunshine, we need to take advantage of it. As my grandmother used to say, there's lots of rainy days to do the housework.
Yeah. And much of my housework is trying to make enough room in my shed for all this track I'm putting up.
How's that going, by the way?
Yeah, I haven't looked into the little Monty thing. The fact that I've got this bit of Carrera Go track to play with the new piece, the new sections coming, I think I'll just stay with that for the time being while I'm putting my cars back into good service condition. They're all running well now.
Yeah, that would be also interesting for a video. Just showing your cars, and like I did with a couple of my cars where I showed the insides of them, and I think that would be very interesting for me. I'll watch them if you put them on there.
I recently bought a new Dremel type machine because I broke 2 Dremels. Whilst using my Dremel type machine to drill holes the other day, the chuck fell to pieces. So I now can't use my new Dremel type machine for.
You need a new one then.
Yeah, I have sent them an email, but I haven't heard back yet because something you just mentioned about taking the bodies off and showing the chassis. Yeah. All those brass chassis need a nice clean before I show them. I don't like showing grotty brass chassis.
I don't know. I think that it's all about what it is, whether it's got dirt on it or not. It's interesting what it is. I mean, some of those, you don't take them, Lloyd. Some of your chassis are beautiful. I mean, they, dirty or not, they're going to be beautiful. They're going to come out good in a video. And speaking of videos, I got one more question for Leo. I'm thinking about buying a camera to do videos, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. Okay, you got any ideas? What to get? No.
Cameras and Leo do not get on well together. So I guess in the USA it'll be the same as in the UK. A few years ago, we started issuing college ID cards with a photograph of the student on them. Somehow or other, I ended up with a job of setting up the facilities to do that, which meant buying cameras. The first one I bought was absolutely hopeless. It was hopeless. So I had to get some help with choosing the right camera. So I don't get on well with cameras. But Canon, the one I use is a Canon Legria, and it's sort of standard little handheld video camera.
Is that an expensive item, or? Yeah, and that's what I would want. I would want something that is not a lot of money and it's easy to use. Okay, because I'm using a old Nikon. I mean, I love the camera, but it's like you said, it's not a video camera. It's a still camera with video capability. Yeah, but exactly. A proper video camera works slightly differently. The focus is constant. Yeah. So if you're focusing a car going past on the streets, the focus will follow the car. Okay. Whereas a still camera focuses when you press the button, and that's the focus fixed. So I think I'm pretty interested in the how-to videos of if you got like a video above your camera above you and you're showing a lot to that. Some of the ones I've seen on the that you see how-tos on slot cars and stuff. Yes. They're pretty interesting, so. Yeah.
Do what I do every time I'm looking at something I don't understand. Google it.
The school of Google.
Have a look at Google, and what I tend to do is whatever the product is, reviews. So-and-so product reviews. and see what other people are saying about the product. And you still have to use your own judgment. But if a product is easier to use or better, it will show up if you read enough reviews on it.
Do you have a video camera, Lloyd?
No, I've actually just been using my phone, which is quite a cheap phone, to take the videos I've taken just recently. But my wife's got the later model of the same camera, and I might borrow that and try that because it's got much more of a camera in it, much more of a camera in that phone. We do have a Canon. We do have a Canon SLR that I have videoed with in the past, but my videos are always a bit rough. So I'm still looking at not only the camera, but usage of the camera, how to do it properly.
Yeah, my problem, I think, is mainly with I've tried to do it on my big track, and I just, nothing I do comes out right because the lighting is, there's so, I get a lot of reflection. There you go. That's. There
you go. We're about to be videoed.
Okay.
See Legria. Can you read that? I don't know.
Lexus.
Canon Legria. This is about 6 years old, I think.
Oh, really?
And so there are newer versions now, but you just sort of click the thing open, and it's, to be honest, I think it's, it takes an SD card.
Okay.
So you can,
they all do.
SD card fits in, and so it records all the stuff on there. Then you can transfer it to your computer. You can get newer ones have Wi-Fi connectivity built in, but this doesn't have that, so I have to take the card out.
Does it have a where you can hook a cable into it to download into your computer?
No, yes, it does.
Yeah, okay.
I never do that though. I just take the card out.
Okay.
I always just take the card out and plug the card into my computer.
I have. I don't think I have
there.
Thing where I could plug it in, but I got.
Yeah, this doesn't have a microphone input either. I think the newer ones have microphone plug-in capability.
But it's got an onboard microphone, right?
Yeah. Yes. Up there, I think that's a microphone in there. That slot and zoom, so you can
kind of like automatically does sound too. I mean,
sound level, yes. Touch screen on here. So if I go into playback mode, can see what I've filmed. Something, I think. So if I touch the screen, it will play back. You see?
Can't see it clearly.
Oh yeah, you can watch the whole thing. I usually just dump it into my computer and look at it.
Sound as well.
So I can look at it, see what it looks like on the computer, and say, oh well, that's where it's good or whatever.
You just mentioned sound. Lots of my videos these days I prefer to record them without sound.
Why is that?
Because just the fact of driving the cars around and
when you're
an awful lot of noise.
Where you need the sound is the beginning, the start, when you explain what the video is, and at the end. The rest of the car and the sound of the car, the sound of the car going around is cool too. You know what I mean? I think
it's not only the sound of the cars; it's every single sound that is around you.
That's okay.
You have to have a very quiet space.
But we're really interested in sound, so we want sound.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to buck up and put sound on it,
okay? Canon Legria. My nephew's a camera guy. So I said to him, I want to buy a video camera, and he had one of these, and he said, get one of these. I think it was £150 when I bought it, which was, it's the bottom end of the market, but it works pretty well.
Some of these I've seen some for $35.
Yeah.
I don't know, if that would do what I wanted to do or not.
The speed technology goes at.
Yeah.
Yes.
A $35 one now could have been a $100 one last year.
Yeah.
Even if you're buying a year or two old technology, it's still better than the old ones you might have from years ago. So as long as they get reasonable reviews, those cheaper ones could well do the job.
Has everybody here been watching the 143rd World videos?
Yes.
Okay. Has Kevin been watching it? Kevin's not saying much today. Kevin doesn't have any sound. You got sound over there?
Yeah, I've been watching them. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. Well, we need one from you. Let's get a drag race video sound.
The thing is, I'm just about to tear down my garage, so.
Oh, are you building a new one, or?
I'm building a new one. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, then it's not a garage anymore. It's a slot track room.
Man cave.
Slot track building.
Well, at the moment, the garage is just a slot car man cave. Yes.
Okay.
So
I hope it's going to be bigger. It should be two stories. You need a story.
It is going to be bigger. Yeah. It'll be. I think it'll be 8.5 meters by 4 meters.
Now that's a good size.
That's the first floor or the second floor? The second floor is where the slot cars are, right?
No, there's only going to be one floor.
Where are you going to put all the slot car tracks? You're going to have to go up on the second floor.
No, you need planning permission for a second floor. I'm not bothered with that.
Oh.
Oh, yes. You don't see that very often here.
What, second floor?
Yeah.
For a slot?
On a garage, anyway. But I think we wandered off a little bit there.
All slot car stuff.
It is slot car. That's important now. Yeah, but it sounds like Kev's going to have a lot of room for a lot of tracks. So.
Yeah, my intention is to rebuild the slot car track that I've got now.
Oh.
Also to do the drag strip that I've got everything for the drag strip. I just need a building to put it in.
All right.
And
what did we do with Alan? Alan hasn't been around the last couple of weeks. Is he moving or something?
And then I'm going to do a rally track at one end as well. So.
Oh, really?
What are you going to use to catch the cars at the end of the drag strip?
I haven't got that far yet, Lloyd.
Two-way tape.
Soft pillow.
Well, the thing is, the track to make it I think it's a full quarter mile for HO cars, 8 mile for 132nd, and whatever it'll be for 143rd. That'll be 6 meters, and I have an 8 meter building, so I'll have 2 meters then for a shutdown area.
The ones I've seen always
pillows
seem
and
to,
nets and things like that. There'll be all sorts of stuff.
The ones I've seen always seem to have something at the end that looks like a box of socks to catch the cars in.
Something soft, yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't want your beautifully painted gasser to end up as a box of bits when it stops at the other end.
I remember when I was a kid and my local slot track that I used to go to had a drag strip in it. Okay, they had a big giant slot track, and this was in the very early 1960s. And then all the way down the whole one wall of it, they had a drag strip. And what I remember about it was I forget what they had really high voltage on it. Okay, and kids would come in, little smaller, younger kids, and they would put their not very high voltage cars on it, just fry them, you know. So everybody, that's what I remember about the drag strip, was that everybody fried their cars on it, you know, because of the voltage, you know. So the thing was huge.
Videoing a drag strip is challenging because it's so long.
Yeah.
You can't get the start and the finish in with one camera. You
Yeah.
need to have the camera at the start, the camera at the finish,
Yeah.
maybe even a camera halfway down the street. Yeah, challenging. I haven't really mastered that yet. I think the best thing, what I ended up doing with the electric vehicle triathlon, what I did was have the camera over the finish line, sort of pointing down the finish line. And so the cars just basically zoom towards the camera. Shall I show that just now? Or
Yeah.
it's not 1/43rd, but I'm usually a good boy. No, dear, where is it? How are we going to do this? I don't know. Stop. No, sorry. It's on YouTube, so I could probably do that.
All right.
Oh, no, here we are. I have control now. So share my screen. Right, can you see the track, the strip, to use the right terminology, the strip? And so the camera is kind of above the finish line is actually here. You can see where there's a very faint, thin gold line across the track. That's the finish line. There's the sensors are that red thing and the white thing there. So if I run the car, play button, play. Blink and you'll miss it. So 3, 2, 1, go. So the cars are moving quite quickly, so just zoom past and blink and you miss it, sort of thing.
Was that my car, Leo?
That's
could
a pretty
be.
good. I like that shot, Leo. That's pretty cool.
I think I've got some more. I did one as a sort of trial preview or something. Just set this up. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of, where the cars are direct, the camera is overhead. So this is a bit better. Right, share my screen. So finish line is there. You can see the red and white markers. Slight kink in the track, but here we go. The cars are at the very bottom end. I think one has headlights, so you can see it power up.
That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's good.
Wow.
So could you hear the sound?
I couldn't.
No.
Yeah.
Right, I don't actually get the sound to come through. I pause that. Is there somewhere to connect the sound?
Line adjustment.
System speakers. Switch to phone, computer. No, other things. I'll try that one and see if we hear the sound this time. Yeah.
No.
Did you hear the sound that time?
No.
No. Okay.
Saw the cars better though.
For next week, I'll try and work out how to get the sound to come through. I'm surprised there's not something here to control.
What length was that strip then, Leo? Was that
8
8
meters? Yeah, 8 meters.
8 meters.
Yeah.
So what does that work out at?
I don't know. I did the math several times, but I just got confused.
Because 6 meters for 1/32 is an eighth of a mile.
Yes. Yeah. That, but then I wasn't too sure what HO scale meant. Scalextric Micro is, I think, 1/87th scale,
No.
but H0 is 1/64th.
Yeah. Scalextric Micro is also 1/64th.
You sure?
Same, pretty well. The 1/87th scale are the little Vikings and things.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the HO scale is 1/87.
It is, but not in slot cars. Yeah.
HO cars are not HO scale.
That's right. They're
HO
1/64th.
trains are 1/87th scale.
Yeah.
HO cars are more or less 1/64th scale.
Okay, so it's still around then. HO is 1/87th, and Micro is 1/64th.
No.
HO
real HO is 1/87th.
Right.
HO for trains and things is
It's 1/87th. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where it originally came from. HO.
for slot cars.
Half O is what it's called for.
Yes, half zero is,
But
half zero.
for the most part, the cars are 1/64th scale.
Yeah.
Even though they call them HO scale.
Yeah.
And micro Scalextrics are certainly about 1/64th. Yeah.
I think the original Aurora HO cars back in the way in the back, vibrators and those pan
They were
cars,
smaller. Yeah.
they were 1/87th. Okay, I think they were.
Right.
But it gradually grew over the years, into 1/64th.
How are we
Lot of
doing
confusion.
time-wise, Lloyd?
5 minutes left.
We are, yes, we're down to 5 minutes now. But it's been a very interesting discussion tonight. We covered lots of things. Has anybody got anything to add about maybe for next time, something they'd like to talk about or bring up? Because if there's any other topics, we can look them up during the week and work on them. Silence.
I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'll probably do something, okay? Because I might build another car. Because I find myself that I can.
You're on a run now.
No, I'm at this time of the year. I don't mind spending a little bit more time on the 143rd stuff, because I don't have a club, more or less, but
Yep.
in the fall it'll be more of a club thing. So, but I'm having fun with it. So the fact that I got 4 cars that are pretty fast is pretty cool.
Yeah, Leo's bringing up something.
No, I'm just going to say we better sign off before we hit the 2 hours, and then you can upload. Yeah. You can upload the video to YouTube.
I'm with you then. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The first little bit of the video was a little bit of chat, so we can cut the first bit off anyway. But that wasn't a bad video there, so I'm going to cut the video now. So
thanks, Lloyd.
I'll say goodbye on that. I'll cut the video and then we'll perhaps continue.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Stop recording. There we go.